Hi, I'm Miss Ashley, and welcome to my happy place. Say, what do you get when you cross a versus puzzle game with a shoot 'em up and slather it with a bucket full of...
Kawaii!
Why, you get...
Twinkle Star! Sprites!
This Reese's peanut butter cup of a game hit Japanese arcades back in 1996. I, however, didn't see it until sometime in the mid-2010s during a visit to Arcade UFO in Austin, Texas. Among all the imported rhythm and fighting games, this cute and unusual game immediately stood out to me. A versus shoot 'em up, I thought? I've gotta try this. Twinkle Star Sprite's design is simple, but incredibly rewarding. As in most puzzle games, players attempt to defeat one another by launching attacks into their opponent's playfields. Unlike puzzle games, though, doing this requires engaging in frenetic action. Players must quickly and efficiently defeat ever-increasing waves of enemies. Destroyed enemies create explosions which destroy other enemies in turn. Thanks to this, hitting the right enemy can create chains of explosions. Completing chains sends attacks over to your opponent's playfield. While enemies can harm and temporarily weaken players, they can only be defeated by their opponent's attacks. Simple so far, right? Well, here's where it gets crazy. Players can send back opponents' attacks by either shooting them enough times or catching them in an explosion. Bouncing them back enough times activates special attacks, which can come at opponents in all sorts of crazy ways. My favorite is the bouncing fry kid thing, but they have nothing on bosses. That's right, sending over tons of attacks at once can summon straight up bosses for your opponent to handle. Oh, but we're still not done yet. Players also have charged shots at their disposal. As they defeat enemies, they'll slowly charge a meter. At level 1, a charge shot can send back opponents' attacks on its own. At level 2, special attacks are also launched at opponents at the cost of some meter. And at level 3, bosses are also summoned at a great cost of meter. The charge shots, if used wisely, can really turn the tide of a game by either turning back a flurry of attacks or launching a well-timed special attack. And then there's the rest of the details. Cooler colored enemies take more shots to defeat, but will still explode if hit with an explosion. Bubble shields, however, will absorb a shot or explosion, so they need to be cleared in order to accomplish a chain. Because this is part shoot 'em up, players have access to bombs for breathing room, and because this is part puzzle game, players can also enter a fever state to launch barrages of attacks at opponents. And finally, because this is an arcade game, it has a mechanism to assure that matches eventually end. The cutest Grim Reaper ever. Oh, look at him. I'm gonna get ya. Oh. That's a lot of mechanics, but in action, it all comes together very nicely. I love the various risk-reward systems at work in every match. Sure, players could hang back and have plenty of time to defeat enemies and deflect attacks, but if they get closer and defeat enemies more quickly, they can get to a special wave of enemies sooner for a chance at fever mode. Charge shots tear through enemies like nothing, but precision shots in enemy formations create more rewarding chains. Bombs can bail players out of tough spots, but if they use them too early, they leave themselves open to a boss attack. The interplay of systems here is truly exquisite. Additionally, the game's bright palette and bombastic sounds pop just as hard as the bad guys. It's noisy both aurally and visually in the best way. The sound effects are very distinct, so the action can be followed even in the most seemingly chaotic moments. The soundtrack completes this colorful cacophony, and though there's a definite progression between each stage's theme, every track maintains a brisk rhythm. Twinkle Star Sprites features 3 game modes. In addition to the expected multiplayer mode, it contains a full story mode and a more traditional arcade mode. Story mode involves guiding the fairy princess Ron on her quest to recover the Twinkle Star from Mebius, the Emperor of Evil. This mode is the game at its goofiest, with quick and very anime exchanges between characters before matches. There's even a moment when the game directly references how many continues a player has used to reach that point. By the end, Ron must transform into the powerful Sprites, and even take on her own mother, Queen Memory. And good golly, she is tough. Despite her love of sweets, Memory is no cream puff. Story mode is a serviceable single-player experience, but character mode is far more replayable. As the game's de facto arcade mode, it exchanges the pre-match banter for the option to select any character. Playing with the rest of the cast makes Ron's plainness very obvious. Characters have unique charge shots, special attacks, and boss attacks. I already mentioned the bouncy things of Nanja Manja, but how about the aimable charge shot of Tinker and Linker? Or the nimbleness of the Dragon Rider Really Till? With 9 main and 4 secret characters to choose from, there's a little something for everyone. Though this wasn't always the case. Strangely, though not surprisingly, Twinkle Star Sprites wasn't widely available for a long time. In Japan, the game not only got multiple home ports and digital releases, it got a fully fledged sequel, Twinkle Star Sprites La Petite Princesse. Twinkle Star Sprites has only recently released outside of Japan, thanks to a 2016 PC port and the digital PS4 release of the previously Japan-exclusive 80K Damashi, a compilation of 80K games. I can't speak to Damashi, but I can say the PC port is a little spotty. It sometimes has even more slowdown than the original game, and some people can't even get it to run at all. I was only able to get it going after realizing my antivirus software had flagged the executable file as a virus. It's funny to think that someone out there felt compelled to name their virus after this game, but that's the kind of thing portstudio.emu should have caught before release. Oh well, at least this version has online play. If the game looks as cool to you as it does to me, I offer this. Try out the game emulated, and if you like it, then either purchase the PC port or 80K Damashi on PS4. They aren't perfect, but it's the only way to send the message to SNK that yes, there's an audience for this game, so please make a sequel. I mean, hey, it worked for Windjammers. Hey, this is Miss Ashley again. I got one of these out sooner than I expected. I think I'm starting to find my groove. Like the video? Tried this game? Have suggestions for other games? Let me know below. See you soon!